Hello and welcome to Tales from the Paper Darkness, Gothic short stories and poems by Derwin Seraphine. Tonight's episode, A Breath of Air, 36 degrees. When it's hot, we throw all caution to the wind. We thrust our windows wide open. We strip off. We turn on the fans, and we melt into the furniture. We go back to a time before it all happened, before the world came crashing down and the rules changed. "It's so hot!" we exclaim loudly, looking at each other for confirmation. It's only when the movement happens that we remember. It's only when we hear the shuffling down the street and those dead-throated moans that we snap out of our little illusion. Jumping up and forgetting the heat, we both rush towards the open window, grabbing frantically for the weapons we usually keep on hand. We slam the wooden frames down just in time and pull the fan out of the generator. When it's hot, we throw all caution to the wind, and it nearly cost us everything. My tree. The tree has always drawn my eye. Ever since I was a young child, I would find myself looking at it whenever I was nearby. It stuck in my memory for such a long time after I left that house. Even now, so far away, I can't get it out of my mind. No one else I know remembers the tree. No one from my childhood. I can't find a single photograph of it, and yet it plays on my memory. I was about 6 when it happened, when I saw her by the tree. I had been out in the garden, just sitting on top of the little wall around our land. I could see the tree clearly from there. The field behind the house rose up to meet it, drawing the eye directly to its evenly spaced and symmetrical branches. The trunk split in two a few feet from the ground, framing her as she sat facing me. Above her head the limbs crossed one another in a perfect arch, like a chapel roof, extending out towards me. I stood up as she waved at me, but I didn't move any closer to her. I wasn't allowed to leave the garden on my own. My brothers were out with friends, and my mother was in her office working. Instead, I stood and watched her, this child who could not be much older than me. She reached up into the branches above her and pulled something down towards her. At first I thought it was a rope swing, but she looped it over her head. Then she jumped, the rope pulling taut from the apex of the arch. The next day, when I looked out at the tree, she wasn't there, the girl from the day before. I was too young to understand what I had seen. I didn't think any more about it until I next saw her. It happened from time to time, every year or so, when I was alone. I would see her jumping from that tree with the rope around her neck. I never mentioned it to anyone. Even in my youth, I somehow knew that no one else would be able to see her, my strange, swinging friend. So I kept her to myself. When I was 11 years old, we moved away from the house by the tree. And although I never saw her again, the tree stayed with me throughout the rest of my life. It wasn't until years later that I learned the story of the tree. A single line on an old lithograph brought it home to me. Elizabeth Aitken, 10, hanged for practicing witchcraft. 1857. I recognized the tree immediately. My tree. That was 36 degrees and My Tree. Both stories can be found in Tales from Behind the Wallpaper, which is available on Amazon, via Kindle or paperback. Thank you for listening.